Hi everyone, we are live for the Get a Perfect Interview Score broadcast. I'm going to wait a few moments and let everyone else join the call. I see there is one viewer, so I'm going to go ahead and wait a few more moments. So if you're there, sit tight. Thanks for joining early. Make sure you are live in the Facebook group as well because we'll be taking questions and doing interaction that way. So go ahead if you need to. Go ahead and get on that Facebook group. I did email the link. And I'm checking the Facebook group right now, actually. So. And I am adding people to the group. So if you are on the Facebook group, go ahead and request to be added as well. Hang on one second. Hello? I just sent out an email. Just click the YouTube link and you should be on. Okay, thanks. Bye. All right, I see we still have one viewer. So hi, one viewer, whoever you are. Thank you. I appreciate it. Everyone else can go ahead and get logged on. And we'll just sit tight for a second. Thank you for being on time. Two viewers, thank you. We're getting there. Ladies, if you are just logging on, make sure you are getting onto the Facebook group as well, because we'll take private questions there. And we'll be interacting on the group as we go through the webcast, so it'd be useful for you to go ahead and make sure you're in the Facebook group. It's our private, exclusive Facebook group, our interaction portal that I'm excited about. And we're getting more requests. I'm excited to join the group and join the broadcast, so hang tight. All right, Amber is on. Thank you. If you were on, go ahead and comment on the page. Let me know you're here. Introduce yourselves, ladies. You can say, hi, I'm Victory. I'm a contestant in the Miss Division, whatever you want to go ahead and say. Amber just said, I'm on. Thank you, Amber. Anyone else, as you get on the call, feel free to type into the Facebook group. All right, I'm letting Destiny in now. So she requested. Let's see. All right, letting someone else in. Sounds good. Ladies, as you sign into the group, go ahead and introduce yourselves. You can say, hi, I'm Susie. I'm a Miss Contestant. I'm so excited to compete. Go ahead and introduce yourself. This is exciting. It's like live interaction. 7 viewers. Thank you. It's exciting. I see Darian has commented. Darian says, watching. Hi, Darian. This is fun. This is exciting. So we are interacting. We're getting to know each other. I'm excited. All right, my viewer is Caroline. Caroline, I hope you're watching. Make sure you tap into the Facebook group. I just accepted you as well. Shout out to Frankie for being first. Very nice. All right, people are commenting. It's exciting. How people are commenting. Just so I know who's on. Thank you. Nadia's on. Taylor Loki's watching. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Definitely go ahead and comment. Let me know you are alive and watching. I appreciate that. Okay. Caroline, I've accepted your friend request. Make sure that you go ahead and join the group. I just sent the email has the group link as well. So go ahead. Let's see. Kendall has commented. Kendall says she's here. Yay. All right. I like this 2 laptops thing going. It's pretty funny. All right. All right. That seems like almost everyone. Let me double check my lovely list. Someone else. Let's see. That is Caroline's here. She's a teen. We have Frankie. She's here. Presley's here. All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think we're just missing other Taylor F. But I don't see her. That's fine. We'll keep moving. All right, ladies. See, someone else commented. All right, so far we have shout outs to Darian, Taylor Loki, Kelly Milliken, Caroline Christian, Kendall, Taylor Loki, Nadia Williams, Darian, Amber. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate that. And somebody else. Kayla Millinson, I think. Let's see. Kayla Millinson's here. Amber's talking about her platform. Very nice. Yay, Presley's here. Very excited. Okay, moving on. Here we go. All right, well, ladies, I'm so excited that you're on the call. This is exciting. Or broadcast. I used to do calls. This is now a broadcast. Well, hello, everyone. It's a great day to be victorious. I love to say that. I'm excited to have you join me on this call. My name is Victory, and I'm the business director here at the Miss Baltimore Miss Annapolis Scholarship Pageants. I'm a former Miss Baltimore myself. I'm a top interview winner at the Miss Maryland pageant. I've placed in the top 5. I have 12 years of pageant experience otherwise. So I often say, if you have a question, feel free to ask me. I probably know the answer pertaining to pageants. Let's see what Kendall says. Kendall says, all right, Kendall's a miscontestant. She's driving. She's driving. I hope she stays safe. All right. I'm also a director of education at the Barbizon School for for modeling, acting, and personal development. I'm the director there. I started out as a student years ago, and I became a teacher. Now I'm a director of education. It's kind of like the principal of the school, so it's pretty exciting. And I'm also a pageant coach. Some of you who know me outside of this know that I'm a pageant coach and a boutique owner, but I own Be Victorious, so you often hear me talk about BV girls or the girls I coach. I do pageant coaching, personal empowerment, professional development, and I'm based in Baltimore County. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. And over the past 5 years, I've helped girls prepare for and compete in a number of pageants, resulting in over 35 local, state, national, and international titles. That's pretty exciting. Now, some of you may be wondering how I could help so many girls achieve such results in just 5 years. Sometimes I wonder that myself, but I'm going to tell you how in this call, and here's the secret. I focus on personal development and empowerment for the interview room. I focus on communication techniques and skill development to nail the interview. And as some of you know, once the judges see my girls in interview, it's really hard to score them less in overall competitions, okay? And let me tell you why. It's because you can win the pageant in the interview room. I firmly believe that you can win the pageant in the interview room because this is where you really get to make a connection with your judges and let them get to know you. If they don't know who you are, if they don't recognize you, it's highly unlikely that they're going to put the crown on your head and score you well. And that's just the truth, okay? Today, you're going to learn some fabulous techniques to improve your interview score and possibly get a perfect interview score. It is possible. It's not easy. Okay, but I know that I have some incredible techniques to share with you today during this broadcast. And if you seriously work on each of these techniques, I know that you can improve. I have no doubt. I have complete faith in you. Okay, I also believe that you only get what you put in. I tell my Barbizon girls this all the time. You only get what you put in. And so yes, you've taken the first step here to improve your interview score by joining this call. But you and I both know there's so much more that goes into a really good interview, right? We're going to get to the specifics in a moment, but back to what I was saying, you only get what you put in. So if you join the call and apply the techniques and practice for a day or two, well, if you only give 20%, you're only going to get 20% out of this broadcast, okay? But if you practice daily and you do mock interviews and you work with a coach or your mom or your sister like myself, a coach like myself outside of this call and really work on improving your scores, if you give 150%, you'll get 150%. You'll see that 150% development and change in your interview skills, okay? So coming on this call, if you're coming on with a halfway attitude, like what's Victory gonna say? I really don't care, I kind of care. If you give halfway effort, you're gonna get halfway results, okay? Again, that's just the truth. What are we going to talk about in this call? Well, all right, on this call, we're going to discuss a lot of things, but what I like to call are the 5 fatal mistakes in interview, okay? Then we're going to discuss some solutions to these problems, some things you can actually do when you get off this call to improve your score, okay? Remember what I said, it's not about putting in 20%. You have to give 150% dedication to your interview, and many times I think we focus on preparing for stage. We focus on choosing the gown, the right heels, the earrings, the swimsuit, or the fitness outfit, and we fail to work on interview as much as we focus on shopping for the gown or finding the right earrings, right? I know I've done it myself. Don't you think that your interview, though, deserves more attention? Don't you think that your mental preparation deserves as much as your physical preparation? I sure do. And I'm glad that you're on this call because we're going to talk about that as well. Okay, so there are many ways to benefit from this call. For example, make sure you have something to write with and something to write on. you must take notes. I assure you, you're going to want to look back on these notes throughout the week before your next interview, whatever locals you're doing. And this is just for our local. This call to be very specific. And it's a live broadcast, so it's not being recorded. But I assure you, you're going to want to take notes. I also think that because there's no recording, you should grab someone else. And this light's kind of obnoxious. I'll turn this way. You should grab someone else and get them to take notes for you as well. I've had a few moms before in my previous calls say that they've actually used interview techniques from my other calls in their real job interviews, and they'll tell you flat out that the techniques that I taught help them land their job. And that's quite a compliment to what I do and what I say. So please grab someone. I have some great material for you today. And lastly, to use the call to your benefit, a lot of you are in the Facebook group, and I'm so excited. But I want you to use a Facebook group as an interaction tool. You were emailed a link to the group earlier today, and only people who've signed up for the call are going to be in this group today. I'm going to open the group later in the week to everyone else who's competing in the pageant, but I wanted to make it exclusive and private and sort of really close, intimate interaction here today. But during the call, you're going to hear me say things like, hey, go ahead and post that into the group, or hashtag that into the group. Feel free to do that. Okay, I want to see you do that. That way I know you're still on the broadcast. I'm not just talking to myself. That's important, right? But I want to make sure that you're interacting. If you have any questions that come up about something I say, go ahead, again, post into the group. And again, maybe you found something really interesting that I'm saying. I'm going to be saying a lot of stuff. But if you find something interesting, don't just jot it down in your notes. Put it in the Facebook group where it says write something, because maybe someone missed it. Sometimes your personal takeaway could be someone's big answer, their big solution to some problem. It could be their big breakthrough. You may have found it good, but it could be awesome for them. So again, if you have a question or you find something really interesting, please feel free to go ahead and put that in the group. I would appreciate it. Again, that way I know I'm not talking to myself. Okay. So again, the link was emailed to you in email. Some people are texting and messaging. Okay. So knowing how to interview is essential to succeed in both pageantry and life. So it's imperative that we learn great communication skills so that we can get the jobs we want into the schools that we want, so we can win pageants and so much more. Okay. Now, when I talk about interview, please note that I'm also talking about communication skills as well. Okay. You are communicating in the interview room with the judges. You're chatting with them. It's not a quiz. It's not a test. It's a conversation. And I think that's where most contestants freak out. They start to worry, they wig out. You don't have to worry, okay? You have to remember that the interview is a conversation. It's not a way to trip you up, okay? Now, like I said, I've been involved in this for 12 years. Pageants, modeling, acting, theater, talent, whatever. But let me be honest, not much has changed in 12 years, okay? The judges are still human beings. They're not aliens, okay? They're not going to bite. So do me a favor. And since everyone's in the Facebook group, I hope, do me a favor. I want you to post right now in the group. Go ahead where it says write something. I want you to write hashtag judges are human beings too. Let's see who's alive. Go up there where it says write something. Hashtag judges are human beings too. I want to see who's awake, who's alive. Go ahead and post it. I don't hear any beeping, so no one's alive. Let's see. I'll give it a second. I know I might not be completely live, so I'll give it a second. That's fine. But judges are human beings too. Give me 1 second. Okay, so judges still want you to do your best. They don't necessarily seek to trip you up. And if they put the pressure on you at some point, please be assured that if they put the pressure on you, it's because they think you can handle it. Okay, they're not trying to trip you up. So jot that down. Judges are human beings too. We have to communicate with them like we would communicate with a friend. We have to have a conversation in interview. Okay, interviews are conversations. Now, I say that because I firmly believe that interviews should not just be question, answer, question, answer. What you are saying should have enough connecting material that the judge will be inspired to ask you more based on what you just said, okay? So you have to be interesting, and you have to know how to format your resume, and you have to know how to format your interview. You have to drive your interview where you want it to go. Never, ever forget that you drive the interview. You are in the driver's seat, not the judges. With your resume and your answers, once you get started speaking, you drive the interview. You are in charge. Okay, hashtag that. Put it in the group. Hashtag I am in charge. We often forget. We often get confused, and we feel like, oh, they're out to get me. No, you're in charge. The material, the things that are coming out of your mouth are what's going to feed the judges. And clearly I'm getting excited now. Okay. This is how your interviews become perfect. They become great. You're having conversations and you are leading that interview. You're in charge. Don't forget that ever. Okay. Also, I've judged a number of interviews. I've been in a number of interviews, okay? And I've sat through a lot of interviews as a coordinator. Let's just say I've seen a lot of interviews. I've been through a lot of them, okay? What I realized that when contestants don't make perfect scores is usually because of some common factors, some common problems, okay? Now listen carefully because you may be having some similar problems to what I'm going to mention today. And it's my job today to make you aware of those problems so we can work to find a solution for you so that you can indeed get that perfect score. Okay, I see that someone is calling me, but I'm not going to answer during the broadcast. So if you have a question, feel free to put it in the group and I will get to it right away. Okay. Now, some of the common problems I've seen and some of my judging friends have seen include the following. Like I said, I've compiled a list of the top 5 fatal mistakes in interview. These are things that hold contestants back from getting a perfect interview score. Now, if you're on this call and you're thinking, well, Victoria, this is just for interview for pageants, no, okay? Don't forget that you can use these things in job interviews, in college admissions prep, whatever you're doing, it's applicable. These are common problems that I'm noticing across the board, okay? I've served on boards, I've served on admissions committees. Again, these are common problems across the board. So I want to present these problems to you so you don't make the similar mistakes. And by recognizing these problems, you can work on these things and work towards a perfect score in interview. All right, I'm saying hashtags I'm in charge. Let's see. Thank you, Presley, Taylor, Frankie, Caroline, Nadia, everybody. All right. Darian says judges are human beings too. Yeah, they're not aliens. Thank you, Amber. Yes, they're not aliens. Awesome. Thank you, ladies. All right, people are alive. This is good. I'm excited. I'm in charge. I'm driving. Very nice, Darian. Okay. So my first problem that I noticed, the first problem, if you're not writing things down, now you should start. The first fatal mistake is presentation. Easy, right? Presentation, from what you are wearing to the way you wear your hair to the shoes you choose. Your overall presentation must be consistent with the message you hope to convey. Say it again. Your overall presentation must be consistent with the message that you hope to convey. Now, for example, if you are very professional and modest in the attire you choose to interview in, and then you come into the show in a very scandalous gown, your message isn't consistent. So even if they liked you in interview, they won't be able to score you as well in other competitions because they can't connect with you anymore. They connected with you in interview for a reason, right? You want to make sure that you are consistent across the board so the judges can score you consistently across the board. You want them to constantly connect with you and know who you are. Concerning presentation, your first big takeaway is consistency. Hashtag consistency, right? So go ahead and post it into the group. But your big takeaway could be someone else's breakthrough. So go ahead and post that. Judges also notice charisma or lack thereof. This is still under the presentation first fatal mistake, okay? So the first thing we talked about is your appearance. Second, we're talking about charisma and excitement or your lack thereof. Are you boring? Like, are you a boring interview? Are you putting the judges to sleep? Okay. Think about these things. And you'll hear my voice during this broadcast. You'll hear some things I'm excited about. You'll see it in my face. You'll see me really excited, moving my hands, and then you'll see I'll get more serious on some things. That's the same presentation you need to have in interview. You need to show the judges if you're excited, if you think this is a serious topic. You need to smile, okay? A smile is universal. Everyone understands smile. It's universal body language. So if you come in and all you're doing is giving me intense and you're giving me scary and know my facts, that's going to scare some people. Let's be honest, okay? You need to be real, like you're talking to a friend. Remember, interviews are conversations, okay? The judges are not going to get this crazy persona, this mean persona. They're not going to like that, okay? Think about what the judges want. They want consistency and they want a good presentation, okay? Judges also notice, this is also under presentation, they also notice body language. Body language is a part of your presentation. Have you ever thought about what is your body saying about you? What's your body language saying? So we always give off verbal and nonverbal cues, right? So think about what cues you are sending to your judges throughout the interview. When I'm working with my coaching clients, we often have to stop and assess body language because more often than not, you're shaking your head or you're fidgeting with your skirt. or whatever you're doing. Sometimes my girls will say, yes, absolutely, but they'll go like this. Yes, I absolutely agree with you. How is your head shaking? No, but your mouth is saying yes. It doesn't make any sense, okay? So think about, again, your consistent message, your consistent presentation. Each of these things, especially in your body language, will convey a particular message, and you want that message to be confidence, not lack of confidence. You want the message to be clear and obvious, and yes, I know what I'm talking about. You're nodding and you're exciting, versus I have no idea what I'm talking about. Your subtle body language is saying, I have no idea. And you're saying, yes, I absolutely agree with you, and your body's giving away, I have no clue. Presentation is key, okay? Another common problem is your organization of thoughts on your paperwork, okay? Organization of thoughts, still under presentation. Have you proofread your paperwork? Has someone looked it over for you? Do you even know what the paperwork says? Okay, let's be honest. Again, it comes down to general preparation, okay? Are you preparing enough for interview? Honestly, are you? Okay. Or are you practicing enough for interview? Are you doing mock interviews with family members? Many of us simply do not prepare enough to score well in interview. If you're not prepared, you can't present well. And you're not going to get a great score, much less a perfect score in interview. Okay? The year I won the top interview award at Miss Maryland, I promised you I was in the shower reviewing questions and how I was going to answer them. I was in the car driving down the street trying to stay awake. Boom. I'm practicing questions. Okay? I'm watching the news. I'm jotting down main topics and saying, this is how I feel about this. And then I verbalized it. Don't fool yourself. Don't think, oh, I'm going to learn the topics and not talk about it. You have to verbalize it. Everything is in presentation. Okay? So, what can you do to improve your presentation? Let's talk about that for a second. What can you do to improve the presentation? First, going back on what we said earlier, think about first what you're wearing. Is it consistent with your message? Is it consistent with your other competition clothing? Are you the same person they met at interview as you are in onstage question, in gown, in fitness, in talent, whatever, okay? You have to be the same person. If you're not consistent, they can't score you consistently, and only consistent scores can win. How are you going to get a 9, a 3, a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 9, a 4, 4, 4, 4? No, clearly that's not going to add up to the girl who has 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Does that make sense? If not, post in the group. Okay, what else? What else can you do? You could tape yourself. Have you ever thought about taping yourself? I know it sounds so silly, but tape yourself. Record yourself being interviewed by someone, or interview yourself, and go back and watch the recording. You are going to see some crazy things that you do. I promise. You're going to notice your body language. You're going to notice that you use maybe you say cuz instead of because. Like, be very critical of yourself and see what you're actually doing. Are you creating an open and outward presentation? Are you creating happy and relatable? Or are you creating scary? I'm never going to smile, and I don't know what you're talking about. What are you creating? Is there fluctuation in your voice? Do you sound and look excited when you should? Or are you creepy and it's a hard question? You're like, yes, absolutely. That's creepy. Your message has to be consistent, okay? Also, make sure you proofread your paperwork and know everything in your paperwork and how it relates to you. These are things that you can do tonight. It's kind of too late to proofread the paperwork, but you can start reviewing the paperwork, okay? Know your material, how it connects back to you, and know your material. That's another thing you can do to improve your presentation. Know your material. If you have not read a book or an article on self-improvement or communication or interviewing in years, you need to pick one up tonight. You need to Google that and read something on self-improvement or communication or great interview skills or what not to do in an interview. Okay, you need to start. Like I said earlier, sharing is caring. Well, reading is caring too, okay? When you demonstrate clear and obvious skills in interview that no one else can compare to, you will stand out to the judges. Again, it's just the truth. If you're demonstrating skills that no one else can demonstrate, if you're saying things that no one else can talk about, if you're connecting your material like no one else can, hello, perfect score in interview, okay? Presentation is key. For example, here's a little tidbit. If you're in the interview room and you're standing behind the podium and one judge asks you the question, but there are 5 judges on the panel, pop quiz, who do you talk to? You talk to all of them. Presentation, you have to engage everyone in your conversation. So if I'm talking directly to you, I'm looking at you. But if there were 5 people in front of me, I would start by answering my question to the judge who asked me. I would turn to the rest of them, make sure everyone is interacting. It's a conversation. Okay, it's not a one-way street. It's not question, answer, question, answer. Conversation, interaction. That's point number 1, presentation. If you're finding anything interesting, feel free to comment in the group. Always. I'll let you guys catch up on the notes. Don't be creepy. Fabulous, Vicky. Thank you, Kelly. Amber says she's taped questions into her shower glass before, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. You're not the only one, Amber, I promise. Smile, confidence, ladies, consistency. Thank you. All right, Presley and Frankie. Thank you, ladies. Nadia. Cool. We're all alive. Good. Okay. Second fatal problem. Second problem. Substance. Substance. Do you have the knowledge and substance needed to succeed in an interview? I'm about to get really excited, so I'm calming myself down. Do you have enough self-understanding to explain yourself in an interview? What is your vocabulary like? Are you 20 years old and never using a word above 5 letters? Okay. Or are you 10 years old, 13 years old, and you could use some better word choice? Do you need to assess your grammar and overall vocabulary use? Okay, the words you choose and the way you choose to use them are a clear indicator of if you cared enough to develop yourself and if you cared enough to develop yourself for the right reasons. Now, I'm not saying to go and grab your dictionary or your thesaurus, but I am saying that while you're actively preparing and practicing, that you should be trying to develop your vocabulary so you sound more intelligent and you sound more knowledgeable in the interview room. You could certainly bump up that interview score by knowing what you're talking about. Well, that's obvious. Isn't it the worst when someone uses a word and they don't know how to use it? Or they say it incorrectly? And in your mind, you're thinking, that's not how you say that word. That's not how you're supposed to use that word. Okay, so you can certainly bump up your interview score by knowing what you're talking about and getting your point across in a way that makes you look intelligent and savvy. Don't you want to look intelligent and savvy in the interview room? I know I do. Okay. Also, are you aware of the world around you enough to use it in your interview material? Like to actually use it in the material? Now, it doesn't matter, in my opinion, if you're competing in the Miss America system or any other system. You have to have knowledge about the world around you. Okay, and it can always come into play. And you're going to sound so much more intelligent. I'm getting excited. So much more intelligent by referencing a current event or a government official or a community news that has affected you. Okay, it's important to pay attention to the world around you. I have examples if you don't believe me. Let's say if you love the sport of swimming, okay, and you're talking about an interview and you have no idea when the next Olympics are. Where is the connection? Where is the substance? Do you know about the world around you? Another one. You were talking about changing the world and being the first female president, but you have no idea who the current president of the United States is, or the vice president, or the name of the first female speaker of the House. Again, connection, substance. Do you know about the world around you? Okay, it applies to any topic. You have to know about the world around you. You know, maybe there's a current event right now that's going on that is important to your platform. Do you know about it? There's always something going on about your platform. That's why it's your platform, okay? It's alive and it's functioning, okay? Overall, it's very important that your substance just screams, I am ready. It screams, give me that perfect score. It screams, throw anything at me and I'm going to connect it. You want to get that substance and you want to get that depth in your interview. It's very important because think about it this way. If you're just giving the top constantly, you're not really giving me any depth. You're not really giving me anything extra. How are you going to connect with me? And that's my perfect segue into my third problem. Third fatal mistake. Third is communication and connection. I'll give you a second to catch up, but communication and connection is our third fatal problem. Okay. Many of us have problems communicating why we love something or why we make the choices that we do, which means that many of us don't connect with our judges. And although there are many ways to connect with the judge, a surefire way to connect with your judge is to get specific. Hashtag get specific. Yes, I said it. Okay. Specifics are key to a perfect score in an interview, and I'll tell you why. Let's say the question is, what is your favorite book? Okay, that's a common, easy question, right? What's your favorite book? And many of you will say, for example, my favorite book is the Harry Potter series because I like adventure and the mystery in it. Okay, so what? Okay. What have you specifically told me in this answer that will, one, make me connect with you, and two, make you different than every other girl that said the Harry Potter series? Nothing. Your specifics are key here. Ding, ding, ding. Specifically, your specifics are going to help you stand out. Okay. So you're writing in the group, hashtag get specific. Okay. Now, your specifics are key here. Your answer should not be so broad. You can develop this specific answer, what is your favorite book, by talking maybe about a scene you liked or a character you really relate to, proving that you really read the book, proving that you read between the lines and you strive for connection in everything you do. Okay, let me be clear. Why would someone want to Miss Maryland that doesn't connect with them? Why would someone want to Miss America that doesn't connect with people? Okay, practice it now. Practice what you preach. If you're going to preach, I'm going to be a very relatable Miss Maryland, and you can't connect with your judges, again, consistency. It doesn't equal up. It doesn't match up. Okay. Interviews are about you. You need to give me the details about you. So going back to my example of Harry Potter. So why would you tell me just about Harry Potter? Is Harry Potter about you? No. You need to hook that judge in like you're fishing and you reel them in. Hook your judges in with your specifics and your personal story. Okay, I cannot express this enough. An answer without specifics is like plain white bread. Simple, boring, nothing special until you spice it up with some jam or some jelly or some butter. Okay, don't be boring. Don't be plain white bread. That is going to be the longest 10, Miss Contestants, that's going to be the longest 10 minutes of your life if you're plain white bread the entire time. The judges are going to stare at you like, teen contestants, do you want a dreadfully long 6-minute interview? No. Your specifics and your stories are key. Okay? Speaking of specifics, we're going to take it a step further. And our fourth fatal mistake is that people forget to tell stories. Stories in interview. It sounds outrageous to some of you, but for some of you who've talked to me before, you're going to hear me say, stories are everything. Okay? When you were a little girl, did your mom not tell you about Little Red Riding Hood? Or when they wanted to teach you to not take things from strangers, did you not hear the story of Snow White and how she took the red apple? Okay. Or when you heard about the dangers of traveling without your parents, did you hear about Hansel and Gretel and how they got thrown into some pot or something and cooked? Okay. My point here is that stories are the most basic way of relaying your point and your message in interview. Now, I'm not telling you to recite the 3 little pigs in interview. Okay. Don't get it confused. But you need to create a story in any interview question. Okay. Again, don't go crazy with the storytelling, but you need to be able to connect. And if people have learned from the beginning of their lives, if they've learned through story, why would you not create connection through story? Something to think about, right? For example, let's say you mentioned to the judges that you are very relatable and you have great communication skills. Okay, you can easily make the judges connect with you by telling them a story exemplifying your relatability or your communication skills instead of just spouting the dictionary's definition of relatable or communication. Okay, do you think the judges want to hear from 50 girls how they're friendly and fun-loving and love volunteering? No, they want more, so give them more. You know that little Verizon commercial, we want more, or Sprint or whatever it was? You need to give your judges more in interview. Okay, don't make them dig. Again, you're in charge of the interview. You direct the interview, so why would you not give them the material that you want them to know? You want to feed them interesting material, so you say something, boom, they're going to want to ask you about that, not about some random topic. Okay, throw the material to hook them in and let them bite. Once they bite, they're yours. You're connecting with your substance and your storytelling. Don't be plain white bread. Do fish bite onto plain white bread? No. I know, I'm getting excited here. I truly believe in what I'm saying, ladies, okay? Now, have you ever heard the phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Well, clearly, some of you ding, ding, ding are getting it. You can create the picture for your judges. You need to activate their imaginations and let them see how relatable you are or how excellent your communication skills are by creating a scene and putting them in it. Put them in the scene. Don't just tell them the definition of relatable. Put them in the scene. Show them how you're relatable. And don't just let them create the mental picture. You want to put them in it. You want them to see it live. When you say that you are relatable, you tell them a story, or how you connect with kids, and you're talking about your volunteering at the hospital, whatever. Create that scene so I can literally see it. Put me in that scene. I want to see what's going on. Or if they ask you, I've never been to St. Mary City in Maryland, and you're from there. What's it like? Create the picture. Don't just give me, well, you would love downtown because it's cool. What? What? No, put me in the picture. Now I'm thinking cool, I'm thinking cold, now I'm thinking the weather. No, focus me in. Give me the material you want me to bite on. Let me bite and let me ask the questions. You drive the interview. You're in charge. Don't ever forget that. Okay? A story is a pull strategy. It's a magnet. Stories pull the judges into your world and help them become intrigued by you versus confused by you, especially when you're searching for words. When you're confused, you can bet they're confused. Okay? Stories build connections between you and those you seek to influence. Remember when your mom told you not to talk to strangers? And she told you that story about Little Red Riding Hood, and she bit the apple and she practically died or went to a coma or whatever she went into. Okay, did your mom not seek to influence you? Right? Didn't she seek to persuade you to not take the apple from strangers, to not take ice cream from strangers, to not get in a stranger's vehicle? Your mom wanted to persuade and influence you, and that's what you need to do in an interview. Your mom also wanted you to trust what she was saying. So in an interview, your stories can help create trust. And this trust will accelerate your ability to influence and persuade your judges to feel connected to you. If you didn't get it yet, your stories are your magnets. They're your fishing hook. That's your hook. That's how you're going to hook them and you're going to reel them in. And that's how you're going to feed them the material that you want to drive your interview. A lot of people say, Victory, they ask me about things I didn't really want to talk about. Well, what did you say to lead them there? Sometimes people will bring things up and they'll say, like blah, 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 and healthcare. And blah, 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 blah. Naturally, now I'm like, ding, 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 hot topic, healthcare. If you don't know anything about it, don't talk about it. Okay, bring me where you want me to go. Feed me what you want me to eat. Okay? We don't bite on plain white bread. There's always something on it, some jelly or some jam. Okay, hashtag my story is a magnet, or hashtag my story is a hook. Go ahead and hashtag that. And if you're finding anything interesting, please let me know so I'm not talking to myself. Okay? Finding anything interesting, create, connect, stories equal magnets. Thank you. Darian says, thank goodness it's 10 minutes. The other organization's only 3. That's nice. Fish don't bite plain white bread. Thank you, Nadia. Amber says, hashtag story time. Don't be plain white bread. Peanut butter and jelly time. That's cute, Amber. Thank you. Get specific. All right. I'm glad you all are alive. Thank you. Okay. I know I'm talking a lot about stories, but I do believe it's really important. I have 2 more tidbits about stories. Don't forget that stories help people remember. Okay, you still remember how silly it was of Snow White to bite into that apple from a stranger, right? You're still like, that girl. So silly. Okay, that's my point here. Stories help the brain remember. So don't you want the judges to remember you? Okay, don't you want them to connect with you? All right, a good test for yourself, a good way to put this into action this week, and you could do it tonight, literally when you get off of the broadcast. A good test for yourself is to see how many stories you can come up with. You're often in interview talking about values you have or experiences you have. Well, you're going to need as many stories in your toolkit to influence the judges in your favor. Now, one story is not going to win them over. Okay, again, you need to be consistent in your presentation, right? Ding, 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 consistent in your presentation. You need to have as many stories as possible. Now, don't get crazy with them, but as many stories as possible so you can connect with judges. Judges come from all backgrounds and walks of life. One story is not going to connect with all of them. Okay, not everyone's going to bite onto what you throw out to them. They're all going to bite onto the hook, but they may bite onto different hooks, to different stories, different things you're throwing out to them. Okay, so you need to have multiple stories in your toolkit. So tonight, go through your stories. Go through your platform, go through your resume, and see what stories you're coming up with. What is what you're saying? How are you connecting it? What's your hook? for everything. It could be you're in the Honor Society. It could be that you played the clarinet for 15 years. It could be that you love running. What's your hook for each of those things? Okay, so say, for example, you have a passion for Children's Miracle Network or breast cancer awareness. There has to be a story behind it, right? Give us that story in a brief way. Again, your stories should be quick, like 20 seconds. You're gonna want to get to the point quickly, right? But the first time you tell a story, you're given all its extra details. You won't be able to get your story to be concise unless you practice it, you verbalize it. So don't think that you're just gonna start talking about the Three Little Pigs and interview and make sure everyone connects. It's not gonna happen. It has to be consistent and concise. Okay, so don't think your story's gonna go on forever. But give us a story about your most embarrassing moment. I'm sure there's a story there, right? Or the first time you realized you were born for the stage. Again, another story. Okay. Lastly, the fifth fatal mistake is that I realized girls don't come into pageants or into interviews, into interviews with vision, a vision. Okay. Now, as a former director myself, I know that no pageant really wants a girl that doesn't have vision. Again, it's just the truth. I'm just being honest with you. The whole call, I'm being honest. A girl should have a plan for her year. And it should be more than, I'll make appearances at other pageants and I'll volunteer and I'll be in parades. Really? Like, what's your real vision there? You need a vision. You need a plan. It's a fatal mistake. People don't come into interviews giving much foresight. They don't show judges that they cared enough to prepare. Do you care to prepare? Okay. You're not scared in interview when you're ready and you're prepared. So show me that you're prepared. Show the judges that you're prepared. Okay, but seriously, what do title holders do? Okay, do they just make appearances? Do they just wave in parades? If you think so, that's an entirely different coaching call. Okay, because we do so much more than that. Okay, make a list of what you think the real responsibilities are. Make a list of the job duties. After all, it is a job, right? Being Miss Maryland is a job. Being Miss America is a job. Being Miss Baltimore, Miss Annapolis is a job. And then what's your vision for the job? Okay. Your plan or your vision story may sound a little corny on paper. That's okay, because it might get you a standing ovation when you deliver it in person with authenticity. When you can connect and you're creating substance and you create material and talk about your vision for your year and should you become Miss America. Oh my God, how is someone ever going to follow that? Okay, you should have some goals for your year as Miss whatever, Miss Baltimore, Miss Maryland, Miss America. Have some goals. And you know what? Even if the judges don't ask you specifically, Susie, what are your goals? Tell me your goals. You can say right now, I've talked to 15 girls about my platform, but it's my goal as Miss Baltimore to talk to 500. I don't care if I didn't ask you. You told me. You gave me great material, great substance. Feed me what you want me to bite on. Oh, getting excited. I feel so passionate about this. I cannot stand dull and boring interviews. And one of the fatal things that happens is that people don't have vision. They don't talk about their vision. They don't show me that they gave any foresight or any thought into what it means to be the title holder. And if you're coming in and talking about broad stuff, what good is that? What good is that? I want more than that, okay? So your vision or your plan may sound corny on paper, but it'll come off so much better and so authentic and real if you can connect it, okay? And you should have some goals for your year, for your title. You should have some actual physical things you want to do. And Lord knows, spouting numbers, oh my gosh, if you spout a number in interview, judges are going to fall all over you. For example, like I said earlier, I've talked to 100 girls, but I want to talk to 1,000 during my year as Miss Baltimore. They may ask you, how are you going to do that? So make sure you have an answer, okay? But again, you've given it some thought, you have some vision, so you are not afraid because you're prepared, okay? You can handle it. I'm not scared because I'm prepared, okay? Now, after you create that vision or that plan, you need to have a story for it, and it needs to connect. People need to feel it, they need to see it, they need to think about it. Obviously, we talked about stories already. You get the idea. Now, please realize that vision takes courage, okay? It takes some audacity. It takes some action. You're the one saying that during my years in Miss Baltimore, I'm going to connect with 1,500 girls. It does take some vision. Vision does take action and audacity and courage, but you need to be able to talk about what you're going to accomplish during your year. Okay, get specific. Are you going to talk to 1,500 Girl Scouts about your platform? What else? Get specific with your vision and give your year real meaning and show the judges that you have real passion for this job. They're not going to put the crown on someone's head who doesn't really care about it. And I know that our director is going to tell the judges that. She wants someone who's going to care about the job, who's real, who's authentic, who can connect. Yeah, who wants to be Miss Maryland? Who could possibly be Miss Maryland? But primarily, I mean, as an organization, what's in it for us? What are you going to give us? You know, how do you understand the job? Do you really have a real understanding of it, or are you just playing guessing games? And it's okay to come to this pageant and say, I'm here to make friends, or I'm just here to earn scholarship money, or I just want the experience. That's perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong. It's perfectly fine to want to compete, to just want to compete. But if you really have a passion for it and you really want to win, please try to incorporate these things into your interview. I promise you, you saw my excitement. If you really get these things practiced and developed and you're really focused, I promise it can turn your interview around. And some of you have already scheduled those free 30-minute sessions with me. If you haven't yet, I just sent out an email about it with my my personal calendar link. Please feel free to connect with me. I can give you some great direct tidbits in 30 minutes. Whether, if I tell you to hit this with a smile or hit this, more directly, whatever it is, any tidbit that can help you for this weekend, I want to give it to you. I want to help. I want to be a part of your experience. Okay, I'm clicking on the group. I'm looking. I promise I'm looking. I'm not scared because I'm prepared. Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Kelly. Set goals, hashtag. Amber said she has hashtag way too many embarrassing moments for the judges to handle. My story is my magnet. Kelly says, I just died laughing when you said that girl is so silly. Thank you, Caroline. My story is my hook. My story is my magnet, Presley. My story is a fishy hook. Just keep swimming. I like the hashtag. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being so interactive. I appreciate it. Okay, so now there's obviously so much more that goes into getting a perfect interview score, right? I'm just giving you the surface here. I'm getting as specific as I can. I don't want to keep you on here for days. But again, thank you for taking the first step in this journey of getting that perfect interview score. I try to give you the 5 fatal mistakes and ways that you can interact and do things this week. You have a lot of work to do for your upcoming interview, obviously, but I want to leave you with some brief details, specific details about our local interview, okay? It's very important. Some of you do know this, but some of you are brand new, so I want to make sure that I'm giving you the details you need. Miss interviews are 9 minutes long, 9 minutes and 30 seconds long. And I say 9 and 30 because you have the option of presenting a 30-second closing. And if you take the option, your interview obviously is 10 minutes long, okay? So 9 minutes and 30 seconds, a 30-minute optional closing. Now, some of you have asked me, what can my closing statement include? Your closing statement can be whatever you like, but I personally like to thank the judges and remind them of why I'm great for the job. Or maybe you wanted to tell the judges something specific in interview and you guys just didn't get around to it. You could bring that up as well. You should prepare and take the time to time yourself for this, maybe even tape yourself. Focus on your closing. Your closing is just as important as the rest of the interview. It's kind of like the grand finale. But again, it is optional, so don't think that if the judges say, hey, do you have anything else to tell us? And you say, no, that's it. I personally don't think your whole life can be summed up in 9 minutes and 30 seconds, that you're just like, no, I'm good, thanks. But it is optional. Someone has asked me before recently if you're in the middle of a sentence and the judges cut you off at your 9 and 30 mark and say, oh, I'm sorry, that's all the time we have for you. Would you like to say anything in closing? So maybe somebody has asked, do I finish the statement or do I go right into my closing? That's up to you. I like to time my closing statements at about 15 to 20 seconds, so I have time, if needed, to finish that question if I was cut off and then go into my closing. Something to think about. Teens, your interviews are 6 minutes long. There is no closing for teens, so teens, don't worry. There's no closing. Teens, you should arrive this weekend dressed and ready for interview on Saturday. Please note that a final schedule was emailed to everyone. If you did miss it, check your email. I did load it in our Facebook group as well. I am taping the interviews. I'm recording. I will be in the interview just to time everything and make sure everything is ready to go and the way I like it. But I will send you the interviews within 2 weeks. 2 weeks dose. 2 weeks of our local pageant. I do need time to debrief and to cut all the interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So please, if you want a copy of your interview, request it after the pageant via email, please. And interviews for everyone are standing. You're standing. There is a podium. You can choose to stand behind it, besides it. Some people go in front of it. I think it's creepy if you're too close to them, to the judges. But again, it's standing. There is a podium. It is timed. I will be there and I will cut you off if I have to. And there is a panel of judges for you to address. So again, Don't just talk to one judge, talk to all the judges, because it is an interactive experience. Everyone needs to get to know you. Everyone needs to hear the answer. They deserve your eye contact and your attention. And yes, you're making direct eye contact with your judges. Some people say, oh, if you're scared, you can look above their heads. No, you're not talking to my bald spot. You're not talking to the back of the room. You're talking to a judge. So find the judge. I would start by talking to the judge who asked me the question, and then answer my question, finish my answer to the rest of the panel. The judges do get your paperwork tonight, and they will start reviewing it. So please review your paperwork. If they're doing their due diligence, you should as well. Some people did ask me, what are some popular current event topics? So I wanted to touch on those briefly. I don't think the interview will be so current event heavy. I think it's going to be really heavy on why you agree for the job, how you're going to improve the program, what are you going to do, what have you done with your platform. I think it's going to be very diverse. The judges are very diverse. They're very interesting. They come from all walks of life, so they're going to be presenting some interesting questions. I don't think it's going to really stick on one topic. But my personal feeling is, if you feel like you don't know current event questions, you should have at least a general idea. So you've proven to me that you know, and I'll leave you alone. Normally, you only get pressed on current events if they feel like you don't have a clue. Okay. I am clicking in the group to double check to see if there are any questions. If you have questions, go ahead and post them. But popular current event topics are Cuba. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to Google it. President Obama and Cuba specifically. Also with Cuba, you may want to know about embargoes, sanctions. They're 90 miles off the coast of Florida. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Immigration. President Obama and immigration specifically. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Executive action. Some people don't know that it is in the Constitution. I was talking to someone about this today. Executive action. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's going to be a hot topic, I feel. Maryland does have a new governor. You're going to want to have an opinion on gay marriage. You're going to want to have an opinion on the DREAM Act. Okay. If you're weary about current events, I say just turn on CNN or Fox News, and on the bottom there's like a ticker with what's like the headlines for today. I would jot down the headlines and see if you can verbalize an opinion about it. Or even, here, this would be even wiser, come up with questions you think that would come up during interview. You can do it with your platform or resume too. Go through and pretend you're a judge. Ding, 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 there's a moment there. Pretend you're a judge. Go through your own paperwork and see what questions you would ask yourself. You'd ask this contestant, okay? Pretend you're a different person. You know, maybe you see something on there about an honor society, or about, why do you connect to this platform? There's different things you can come up with. So go ahead and create your own questions as well. Also, if you have no clue, you could Google search students and current events, something like that. And two websites pop up. There's a CNN website that does like a video and like current event questions based on the video. And there's another one that has like an article or something you read, and they have questions for it. And this goes back to like years. You can like search. So maybe if it didn't happen this week, obviously, they probably won't ask anything that current. But a couple weeks back, again, Cuba, immigration, executive action, things like that. Tomorrow we do have another broadcast, don't forget. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Our Local. I'll go through everything really. Interviews, rehearsals, clothing, tickets, when doors open, etc. Some people I know understand, receive information differently. So I want to present it in broadcast form, even though it is in text form. So you can personally hear from me the details, so I can clear up any questions or concerns you have. Our Facebook group will be live again tomorrow. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to interact with me personally. And I want to share something with you specifically. I know some of you have to go. This is the Miss America actual scoring guide that the judges get. So something you should consider. I mean, I feel like when I was a contestant, I wanted to know these things, and no one ever told me. So when judges are scoring you, they score you on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you score 1 to 3, it means that you are below average. If they score you 4 to 6, it means average. If they score you 7 to 9, it means above average. And 10 is perfect. Very rarely do people give out perfect 10s. I think it has to be really good. As a judge, I have given out perfect 10s because in interviews, I've just been like, wow, that was that good. Okay, so again, below average 1 to 3, average 4 to 6, above average 7 to 9, and perfect being a 10. And again, the judges do get this. It's like an official Miss America document that they are going to get. And a lot of directors, a lot of people don't share those things with you, but I want to share that with you because I think it's important to know these things. Kelly says, don't talk to the bald spot. Darian, you posted what is a closing statement. So if someone can go back and answer that for her. But Darian, a closing statement is 30 seconds that a miscontestant gets at the end of her 9 minutes and 30 seconds to wrap up her interview. And normally it would be like, thank you so much for your time. I want to assure you that I'm the best contestant for the job because XYZ. Okay, but someone please go back and do that. Caroline says, thank you so much for doing this. Very helpful. Yay, thank you. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and post it. But please do me a final favor. I know a lot of you were interacting in the group, but final favor, I promise, final request. Send me an email after you get off of this or a text message and let me know what you thought about the call. Okay, you guys are my guinea pigs. I want to do this call for my my coaching clients, but you guys are my guinea pigs here. Let me know if you got valuable material from the call. Maybe you learned about the importance of stories or having charisma and excitement, or you're now driven to develop your vocabulary. Whatever it is, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Please, thank you. And again, I'm going to hang on for 1 second. I just want to see if anyone has any questions. Go ahead and post that into the group because I don't think it's actually completely live. Thank you, Amber, for responding to Nadia's question. Are teen and miss questions different? They are different. Teens and miss don't get the same questions. But specifically, yes, I do think that gay marriage would be asked of a teen. You should at least have an opinion on that and other current events. At least have an opinion. And if you are scared of it, call me and we'll figure out a way for you to answer it. Again, as long as you're not offending a judge, ladies, I don't think you should have a hard time with it. Give your honest opinion just with a smile. Okay, sometimes, again, you don't want to intimidate the judges or make them angry, but deliver your answers with a smile. It should come off a lot easier. I know that sounds really corny, but a smile can break barriers. Okay. Kelly says CNN has an app, which is fantastic. What do you do when you don't know how to answer a question or a current event that you have no knowledge on? For a current event that you don't have any knowledge on, you can ask for additional information. You can say, I haven't actually heard about that. Could you provide me some additional information? I'd rather you ask than go off and talk about a tangent and pretend that you know. I'd rather you ask than pretend that you know. So you can say, I'm not exactly sure about that. Could you provide me some your response? Or you can say, no, I'm lying. You need to ask. I'd rather you ask about something that you don't know. You never want to assume. So maybe you've heard that saying, assuming makes a what out of you and me, right? So don't be a fool. You want to make sure that you are asking. Or you could say specifically, I know about the Cuba situation, but I'm not sure about the president exactly. Could you provide me with some background there? And again, I'm sure they'd rather you ask than look like a fool or start talking about things and have no idea. So Destiny, I hope that answers that question. Let's see what else. A list of the judges. I actually had a judge today drop out. There was a death in his family, so I can't exactly provide you with the list. And no other local really does that. So if I have yet to decide if I will provide you with the list. I apologize. I know some of you really want to know. But what I can give you right now, is that one is on Fox 45, and she is a reporter in a way. She's also modeled and done pageants and stuff, so that's how that's applicable. One is a sales and marketing guru. So clearly, I want you to know about how you're going to market the program, how you're going to sell Miss Maryland, sell Miss Baltimore. One is, she's also in marketing, but she has done pageants like 30 years. So you have a pageant expert per se on the panel. Another owns a cosmetics company. He runs his own business. So I'm going to want to know, kind of what's your plan? What's your vision for your year? And the other one has dropped. So I have an alternate judge who I have to contact after this broadcast. When it comes to creating a plan, what do you plan to do in Baltimore? How do you know where to start? There's so much passion. Destiny, to answer your question, I would talk specifically about Miss Baltimore and how you see that expanding on the state and possibly national level. So they see that you have the vision for being Miss Maryland, being Miss America as well. Where to start? I would say write up a plan and then put your details in order in which you think are rank them in which is most important that you want to do to least important. That way you can cross the things that you think are not so important, and that way you can tackle it in a concise way and in a certain time frame. again, I would start with what I'm most passionate about doing to what I'm least passionate about doing or least excited about. That way you can cross off some things. And again, make sure, ladies, when you're creating plans or visions that you can foresee it for your platform and both for the organization, how you can do these things on a local, state, and national level as well. Yes, I can show it again, the scoring paper, if that helps. And I think that's it. I'm not hearing any other, not seeing any other questions. I'm not saying hearing questions. But again, if you have any other questions, feel free to post them into the group. I will stay live on the group for a while. Thank you, Amber. You're posting almost completely live. Okay. Yes, you can definitely do that. I would always ask. I'd rather, Destiny, I'd rather you ask than assume, right? I wouldn't want to be talking about the question about Cuba and you start talking about New Mexico, for example, right? So you wouldn't want to talk about something random, so I would ask. But ladies, again, if you could just send me an email, let me know, or a text, and let me know if you got anything valuable. As if you have any additional questions, I'll stay live on the group and I'll try to answer as much as possible. And this group is only tonight and tomorrow for who has signed up for the broadcast, so don't share it with everybody just yet, and then I will open it up to the rest of the contestants as well. But ladies, like I always say, it's a great day to be victorious, and what a great way to start off 2015, amping up your interview skills and taking yourself to the next level, the elite level. Thank you so much for your time, ladies, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.